Welcome to the holidays 2020. Christmas is upon us. Christmas Eve will soon be here. And I've been thinking a little bit about this because, as we think about the Christmas story and what that means to this world when we think about peace on earth, goodwill towards men, is what I want to call the 3 H's of Christmas. And that would be humility, honor, and hope. Today I want to talk about humility. Why is humility important? Why is it challenging? And where is it evidenced in the Christmas story? Well, no clearer place than when we find this young couple from Nazareth having to go all the way down south to Bethlehem, where they have to show up for a census that the emperor is called. And when they get there, Mary, who's very young and very pregnant and ready to give birth, they can't find a place to stay. You might know the story from reading in Matthew or Luke, but they could not find a place to stay in Bethlehem. It was so crowded. So the innkeeper said, you can stay in this basically in the stall, in the area where we keep the animals. And Jesus was born there according to the accounts that we read in the Bible. And this King of Kings, this Lord of Lords, this Prince of Peace that the world would now know all these 2,000 years, was born in complete obscurity, complete poverty, no attention, no medical help, no assistance. He's born and he's literally placed in a swaddling cloth in a manger. That's Jesus, the very Son of God. If that story is true, and if Jesus is who he said he was, that's remarkable. To think that God would come to the world, not with lights, camera, and action, with gold and silver and confetti and ladies and gentlemen announcing the King of Kings, No, here's an obscure baby born in an obscure situation with complete and utter humility all around his birth. And yet he's going to become the most central figure in human history. This child born in obscurity, in humility, in complete humble circumstances, is going to become the person upon which we even date our calendar, BC and AD. That's an incredible picture of humility found in the Christmas story. If humility is really a virtue that we can see in the Christmas story and something that we should aspire to in our own lives that would help us to be a better husband, a better wife, a better friend, a better coworker, a better human being, why is being humble such a challenge? Why is it so difficult to walk in humility in our communication with others and in our relationships with others? I think the answer is kind of obvious. The inevitability of those people who are proud or arrogant or controlling will always kind of bump into our humility. They will promote themselves. They will put themselves ahead of other people. They'll take advantage of humble people who appear to be weak or soft or not assertive enough. And so that challenge will emerge in virtually any workplace, any environment that you and I as human beings operate in. But if you think about it, arrogance and pride is immediate gratification that is met with long-term consequences that are not very positive. But on the other hand, humility is kind of a focus on controlling who we are and disciplining ourselves to not think mostly about ourselves, but to think about others, that brings benefits long-term, that people look at us differently. They see us as a person of virtue and character and qualities that are admirable. So we have to weigh the differences between pride and humility in such that what we're committed to is who we are as human beings long-term and not just in the immediate. I don't want to just get ahead. I want to be a quality person. I don't want to just get the job or get the promotion. I want to be the kind of person that people look at and they say, that's a decent human being. That's a quality person. He's a great friend. She's a great person. Those kinds of virtues that we would speak about are the virtues in Christmas and the Christmas story that we need to look at so that we can overcome the challenges of being a humble person. So, are the short-term benefits of being self-promoting, controlling, and unloving to people versus that consequence of being seen as an arrogant person later in life and a person that people don't like really to be around, enough to challenge us to walk in humility through this season and throughout the year, to be a humble person, which is hard in the immediate sense, but in the long run, it is the kinds of virtue and quality in our life that people admire and really respect and appreciate. So let's get back to Jesus for a second. Born in complete humility and obscurity and poverty, nobody was impressed by Jesus's birth. yet he was the Son of God. He was the promised Messiah. So when he grows up and he continues to live a life of a servant, not to be served, not as the king that is to be honored, but as the servant to serve others, as he did throughout his ministry and throughout his life. As he did that, people admired him, people were impressed by him, people were drawn to him, people wanted to follow him. And Jesus didn't take advantage of his divine status. He didn't gloat about that. He didn't say, hey everybody, I'm God, you got to follow me. No, he said, I'm the Son of Man and I'm here to serve you. And when he did that, when he showed that kind of unconditional love, he drew remarkable appreciation and interest from people who wanted to be around that kind of person. So remember, being a humble person doesn't mean that you're controlled by other people or told what to think or that you have to accept everybody else's view of things. Jesus wasn't taken advantage of by the religious leaders of his day. He wasn't molded into a position by his critics. He stood up to them. He spoke truth to power. He was firm. He was clear about who he was and what he was here to do. But what made him humble was that he loved people unconditionally, that he elevated their status, that he saw them as significant, that he valued them, that he was willing to serve them and care for them in a way that was profound, tender, authentic, and real. So as we get ready for Christmas and we think about the virtues that Jesus left behind and modeled for us, certainly one of the great examples that we should have in our own lives is the gift of humility.